Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen. We're here with Kevin Heisinger. Kevin Heisinger, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much for coming on. I follow you everywhere on Twitter. Let's check you out here.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, yeah. On Twitter, you are Kevin_Heisinger, H-E-I Singer. And then Instagram, you're a big fucking stud. You are Kevin Heisinger there as well, without the underscore.
Graduated.
And then, yeah, so then you're also Midnight Movie Night, where you are, I mean, you just have a world-class popular podcast where you're making fun of bad movies. Is that correct?
That is me. Yeah. We started during quarantine and made things slightly less miserable during 2020. And
Okay.
It worked out better. I love recording through Zoom. I think it helped me not only meet new people in LA, but I also, because I just moved here from Sacramento, and I was able to stay in touch with them and also review the bad movies and have them as guests. So it's been
cool.
A lot of fun.
Is Megan Sweet, is she also LA?
She actually, about
Sacramento.
halfway through recording the podcast, she's actually in New Jersey, and I promoted her to co-host. She, her and I just have a really great, what do you call it? Like, I feel like I'm the Howard Stern, and she's, what's her name, Grace?
The Robin chick?
Robin, there you go. And we
Did
just
you say Grace? Did you say Grace?
I don't know why I said. I just went in thinking that was her name, but it's
so elegant and graceful. I think that's a good compliment. But yeah, I'll have to have Megan Sweet on because we have some Jersey comics on. So she's a comic. She's a comic too. Yeah, comedians plural. Comedians Kevin Heisinger and Megan E. Sweet discuss the most enjoyably bad movies of all time. What makes a movie enjoyably bad?
That's a great question. I'm kind of a film buff, and I was really bored at a certain point a few years ago, just watching all these good movies. I just wanted to watch something bad, and there's so many different elements. You know, it really has to. I think my number one is a movie that's trying to be great, but failing miserably. You know what I mean? Just trying. For example, I mean, like the most obvious one, probably The Room, was trying to shoot for the Oscar.
Oh, The Room, okay, with the Tom Wiseau movie, okay.
That, or I think my personal favorite is definitely Showgirls, where she was really going for that Oscar, but just failing in such a beautiful way, though. Not just failing, but failing amazingly.
Yeah, I recall enjoying it as a young boy. I think I'm pretty old. Now, what's the different, so if that's one category, what's the second category of what makes a bad movie enjoyable?
There's so many things. It's really just the craziness, just the fact that they would write a script of characters doing horrible things, but they make it seem so nonchalant, like it's so this is normal behavior, right? Or this is cool, right? Just the things, just the thought process, really. And that's
what's an example of people acting like, and I guess it's like a Seinfeld where if you took every awful thing that they did on Seinfeld and actually just kind of made it a true thing, it like these people be locked up, and I mean, if they ultimately were. So what's kind of an example of the movie where people are acting so horribly and it's as if the world just goes on as if that's normal behavior?
Yeah, there's this little movie that came out a while ago with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez called Geely, which I think is the prime example, where they tried to make it a romantic comedy. And this lead guy is so insufferable. He's this mafioso, but he's borderline torturing and killing people, but he's supposed to be likable. We don't get any reason as to why.
It's not Ben Affleck, is it? Ben Affleck doesn't play the mobster.
Yeah, Ben Affleck is the lead mobster guy. And the whole plot of the movie is him and J-Lo. Wow, this is what peak of them dating. They were so hot over the tabloids. So the whole plot is they kidnap this mentally handicapped kid and are supposed to kill him at some point. And over the course of kidnapping him, they realize that they love each other, I guess. I don't know.
Really. What about the kid? I mean, do they love the kid, or no, he's just disposable?
No, they're just kind of there. It's really
they never wrap it up.
No, they ended up just kind of releasing him into the wild at the end. So, and there's a movie that's supposed to be this twisted, dark comedy, but they just were really trying to capitalize on Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. It was just everything about it. I mean, it's so just not. It was trying to be a dark comedy with the things that people do, and they just thought this is quirky, right? This is normal behavior. It's just these two mafia leaders just kidnapping this poor kid with Down syndrome, and it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Not funny, very poor taste, but I did end up really enjoying it. We did that for Valentine's Day, and
Oh,
now
that's
we
funny.
are.
And is there a third? That's I love it. The movie's in poor taste. You're going, well, let's do it on Valentine's Day then, because it's, the reason for
Yeah.
it being there is because of those two lovers. Is there a third class? Like, if you can generalize, to a third class, are you able to, like, a third class
Yeah,
of bad movies?
yeah. So yeah, the big thing, which just last night, actually, my girlfriend and I just watched. There's these types of movies that think not only like the second category would be this is normal behavior, right? And my third and probably favorite category are movies saying this is cool, right? Like this is hip.
Okay.
This is what the kids are gonna love.
Okay.
There's this trilogy of disco musicals back when disco was kind of dying, but they try to keep it alive. And I don't know
Okay.
if you know this, but the Village People made a musical,
Okay.
and it was their biopic called "Can't Stop the Music." It has Steve Guttenberg and
That's
Caitlyn Jenner back when she was Bruce Jenner,
oh, that's awesome.
and
Steve Gutenberg's amazing. So he that was
yeah,
his star vehicle, huh? After what?
that was his
Police
first
Academy.
his first big role, I think, right before Police
Oh,
Academy, and
wow.
it is this and Xanadu and this other movie I just watched called The Apple. It's like this trilogy of disco musicals. So I think it's probably just they were trying so hard to make disco cool, and they're rollerblading and just the outfits. And last night it's
Yes.
on a Paramount Plus. This movie called The Apple, which is insane, which is this disco musical. They made it in 1980. It's supposed to set in the future of 1994, but everyone is dressed ridiculously 80s. And the
Yes.
musical number, the songs are terrible.
Okay.
The outfits are terrible.
But is it
And,
knowing?
but
Like,
it,
are you careful to make sure that you're not picking on movies that are intentionally bad? Like, you're not going after
oh,
a Naked Gun or
definitely
a
not.
parody, right?
Definitely not. That was the
Okay.
number one thing because there's
Yeah.
movies like Sharknado or all those straight to
Yes.
video Megalodon versus Octopus, whatever.
Yeah.
This really stupid B movies that know they're stupid. It really just that's what I've been trying to avoid since day one, and it's been
Good.
working. No, I do have a list of movies of just the essential bad gore. And it's always, yeah, that's the number one is movies that are trying to be amazing. Movies that
Okay.
are trying to be cool and failing miserably is what I'm really going for. Because if it's just something like Sharknado, it was just stupid. It's just sharks running around tornadoes. I've only seen the first one and it was just dumb because it's self-aware. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. I'm trying to
Yeah.
do like the
Was
horror movies that are trying to be scary and fail miserably. That's another one of my favorites.
okay. So what's one of those?
Oh,
If
so and
putting
that
you on
was
the
my
spot
favorite
here.
when we first. Yeah, it is my favorite. Every October, I try to do 4 to 5 bad horror movies for the entire month. And God, where to begin? I mean, The Exorcist 2 was pretty amazing. The
They
Linda
tried to be
Blair was
scary and it wasn't.
Oh, not even a little bit. They don't
Okay.
have her dressed like the demon at all. It's
Okay.
basically her using hypnosis and this telekinetic communication with this doctor. And it's not scary in the slightest, and it has little to nothing to do with the first one.
And
And
did I
it's
hear you say Blair Witch or
brilliant.
no? And I hope one of the Paranormal Activities is on there because I was like, or what was that one where they actually it was the guy from Superstore who looks like Chachi, the young guy. He was in a horror
Yeah.
movie that actually got really good reviews, and it turns out like you kept waiting for everything scary to happen. Like there was a little bit of a descent in there with the cave creatures, and they ended up just coming out the other end of the world in Paris. They just opened a manhole, and that was the end of the movie. And I was like, there
Uh,
nothing happened. Like I don't know if you remember that one, but just like, did you say Blair Witch and is there a Paranormal Activity on there too? Because I actually walked on one of those.
oh Jesus. Yeah, I gave up. I love the first Paranormal Activity. I
Yes.
think maybe the second or third one were really bad, and I
Yeah.
just gave up. So
Yeah.
I don't know how it goes. I don't know if it's so bad it's good, right? Those seems kind of just like shameless cash grabs. They're just not
Yeah.
even trying. It's just jump scares. Because we did do the second Blair Witch because that was trying really hard
Yeah.
to capitalize on the success of the first one and
Yeah. I
just
thought one was solid. Yeah. But number two is just a little bit, yeah. I
it
don't
was
recall liking it at
insane, but
all. Yeah.
in the best ways because it's crazy. It does not make a lick of sense, and it's just again trying really hard to be scary, but it's mostly just leaves you scratching your head. It really isn't. And then the Paranormal, they did actually do a third Blair Witch not too long ago, and that ended up, interestingly enough, being kind of like Paranormal Activity, the newer ones, where it's just stupid and it's just jump scares.
That's the shit
They
that
really,
that's the shit that scares me though. Like,
oh,
like
you
I
like
probably
you
consider,
like jump
yeah,
scares?
yeah. Well, no, like that's why I don't like horror movies because it's
Uh,
typically, jump scares or whatever. I'd rather. What was the one where it got what people would follow? It's called It Follows. Like that did
yeah,
not
I
have
like that
jump
one.
scares, and I liked it a lot. Like so, it's well reviewed, and so I'll go see it. And I really like the creepy ass visual. So that's something that I can actually enjoy without being too scared. And so yeah, It Follows is one of those. Now that you're getting, I think you do write scripts, or you're in the process of kind of, finishing up, or
Trying to,
yeah.
yeah.
So like now that you have found out everything that's shitty about the shittiest movies, you kind of know what to avoid. But I mean, are you tempted to put some of that stuff in there and just make a really successful, super, intentionally bad movie?
No, I don't. I'm trying to make something good or just something weird. I've been in between projects forever. My girlfriend and I are actually trying to do a TV show right now, so we're starting small a little bit, but we definitely know we're kind of just using real life experiences that we've had and just incorporating it into our scripts and just kind of starting small from here on out. I haven't really necessarily. From the podcast, I would say I definitely learned what not to do in a lot of senses and just have a really solid direction as opposed to just going for it. It
Yeah.
really
And so not biting off
there.
more than you can chew, making sure that you're
Yeah,
just, it's just not a not a cash grab, that you're not trying to be too cool and do it for the kids. I think, Letterman used to introduce certain bands or whatever, saying it was for the kids. And I think he was trying to say, I have no idea who these fucking people are, but Paul Schaefer
exactly.
thinks it's a good idea to have him on there. And so you know what not to do, but then you've seen all these movies, that you could go in any direction. There's probably many plots and many worlds you're interested in exploring on film. How do you
Right.
choose what's worth your time? Like, is it because, okay, me and my girlfriend can do it, so we'll focus on things that have kind of happened to us and things that resonate with us? You just want to enjoy making the film, and that authenticity will kind of translate to the audience.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I do. We both do love horror movies. I'm trying to maybe do little horror comedies because,
Oh, is it so? It might not necessarily just be a relationship thing. It might be a horror rom-com or something.
yeah, I mean, we're going to start with this comedy show that we're working on right now, but I do want to branch off. I'm trying to be like Jordan Peele. He started with Key and Peele and did little sketch comedy, but
Yeah.
his true, passion was horror. And you could even see it in some of the Key and Peele sketches. They're kind of creepy, and there's definitely a creepy element to them. So I do kind of want to do that a little bit, just incorporate that little sprinkle the horror elements on my show, and then gradually maybe working on our scripts. I know she has a script that's fully fleshed, and we both have a bunch of ideas. It's a tough time with the pandemic and everything. And I also just have a lot of discipline issues just sitting down and writing a script. It's not my strong suit. I like writing, but I also hate it. I don't know. It's really,
Dude, you
it's
should you
tough.
should really, like, I had Kirsten Porter on earlier today, and she's with something called Deadline Junkies LA. And I swear to God, they said something like they produce 3 scripts every day between Monday and
Oh,
Thursday
yeah.
or something. And one day is like comedy day. And like they just bang out so much shit that she's already kind of, nearly submitting a big, 10-minute short that's really funny. And so
That's a
like, do
great
you think,
idea.
yeah, do you think that being part of a writer's group could help if you're not already part of one, just to kind of keep you
Oh,
disciplined, or no?
Oh, most definitely. The biggest problem I have right now is deadline issue. I don't have a deadline and I have zero discipline to do it. There's no real motivator for me. It's just kind of something I would like to do, but to be in a group, yeah, that would definitely be great. Especially because only short films I've made recently was because I was in film school and it was a
Yeah.
final, I had to. So it was the only reason I went out and I did it. And then ever since then, it's just been kind of just dicking around, not really doing that much because I don't have a deadline. There's no reason for me to other than I would like to. But right now
Maybe.
I am helping her with her show. So it's gonna be a deadline. But I would love to join some sort of writing group.
Yeah, because maybe that's the most expensive lesson you learn from film school, is that, oh, I needed the deadline. That's all I needed to get shit
That's
done.
all. Yeah, it's just the discipline, and that's all I really. Yeah, it's just having a final and having to do something by a certain date. I know my sister and her friends do a thing where they set a deadline, and if they don't reach it and have a certain number of pages or a full-on flesh novel, or at least a first draft by a certain date, they have to do something embarrassing like donate a lot of money to a charity that they hate or something.
Oh,
It's
good.
really, I know,
But,
because I don't, yeah, like Nathan Fielder had a whole thing like that. Did you ever watch Nathan For You at
oh yeah,
all?
I watched a couple of those episodes, like the
Uh,
Starbucks and things. He was just great. I mean, he sold it so sincerely.
Yeah, he sets deadlines for himself where he takes a really embarrassing picture of himself doing something really graphic, and he goes to the UPS and he has his grandma's address, and he says, if I don't show you a first draft of my script in maybe 2 weeks, then you have to mail this to my grandma. And
I
that's
love that.
and that's how he motivates himself. And I just gotta applaud him. I learned about this a while ago. I don't have the guts to actually go through with it because I feel like I would still slack off.
You were
But
actually thinking about that. You're like, that picture's not that graphic. You can go ahead and send it
yeah.
out. I'm not that proud. Yeah. And I think like we have something called Character Sundays where we produce, I don't know, 5 or 6 short videos a week.
Oh, nice.
And but what you do find is what I think they found with Deadline Junkies for Kirsten Porter is that you find out that a lot of people indicate an interest, but it's that regular deadline that kind of shakes out some of the people. They have a lot of other things going on, and they don't thrive on the
Right.
deadlines, where some people are like, I really enjoy the challenge of like making a short video per week. And
Right.
and so like you really find that some people shake out. Maybe some people shake out because, hey, you already have a successful podcast, Kevin Heisinger, and like that's too easy to keep that going. And just, I mean, the people must love it. Like what kind of movies are people just like, oh, I can't believe, I'm so glad you spotlighted this shitty movie. Like, what audience responses are you, have you ever fired a dud? Have you ever picked a movie that you thought was bad and everyone's like, fuck you, that's not bad at all?
It's been, people don't really understand. They see movie in my podcast name and they just go, I love this movie. I don't think they really realize what the podcast is even about anymore. I did Demolition Man and everyone freaked out about it, said that's awesome. Because at first people hated me. At first people hated me and thought, I love this movie. Why would you even crap on it? I said, no, you don't understand. I'm doing the movies that are so bad they're amazing. I'm not trying to trend on it.
Oh, so there is a segment that's like, so it's spectacularly bad, and so as long as you appreciate it as such, you both are on the same page. Like they actually like it legitimately without exploring that, yeah, maybe it sucks, and you're like, no, this sucks, but it's still amazing. And at the very you guys are, I love that the outcome's still the same. I mean, did you know that going in, that even if the people love the movies, they're still going to love the fact that you're kind of talking about it in a way that's not, you're still appreciating it being spectacularly bad, right? Like, so are they kind of, even though they don't get it, they're still fans of yours? And are those fans of yours? Like, aren't there some people out there, like, you're famous, who did it? Chappelle, where he was like, some of my fans weren't really getting, they liked certain racist stuff I was doing, but they weren't getting the message behind it. And that kind of felt weird to him. So is it just cool to have a lot of fans of your podcast, or are you like, dude, you guys don't get it, and I don't like producing this content for you if you're not going to get it?
Right. At first, it was annoying because people were, trashing me. It's like, how dare you? It's my favorite movie ever. But now it's gotten to a certain point where they just see the movie poster and go, oh, cool. Yeah, this movie. Good job. And they don't even, it's just a point where they're just fans of the podcast. It's just become a movie podcast. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter anymore. But
yeah, I guess, really, I've had some other movie podcast people on and they each have their own hook. So that's good. But like, how do you make sure that it stands out? Are there, is there any overlap? Like, the reason why movie podcasts are so popular is because everybody watches and enjoys movies and things like that. But, as a result, you have a lot of competition. Kind of what was the thing you set out to do? Like where was the dearth or the absence? Where was the opening where you're like, I've seen all these movie podcasts and they're not talking about this? Or you're like, no, I just want to fucking talk about these movies. And if the fans come, the fans come.
Yeah, no, it was trying to be kind of like, how did this get made a little bit? That was definitely my main inspiration and a little spin-off. And my primary goal, I mean, yes, there are movie podcasts that just talk about movies. My primary goal is, because midnight movie night, I'm trying to make these movies, take them and turn them into midnight movies, something like Showgirls, something like The Room. These are movies that I have handpicked. And I think that these should be shown in theaters late at night, and people should be dressed in drag and yelling at the screen. And I think it would be amazing. And I'm very much excited. I mean,
what can you do? Are you going to do anything like that when COVID kind of when everything reopens after COVID? Is there any way that you can kind of get the rights to a couple of these things and show it in a park or something like that?
Well, what I'm trying to do is, every year on my birthday, I have a pretty nice TV, not to brag, and I invite all my friends over. And what I do is that I force them to watch a bad movie on my birthday, the one that's so bad that it's good. And this year we did a little movie called From Justin to Kelly, and it is my favorite. And got a resounding response from everybody, and it was
So you're just
amazing. And not only that,
keep doing that, but also grow that a bit. Invite the fans at some point.
I'm trying to slowly have parties. It's been difficult but I think maybe once every few months, I think I can maybe get some people and just have a little get together. I'm just I do trivia. We have games. It just recently buy this Showgirls VIP edition, which has all sorts of drinking games and such.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Or did you just create them? Did you just with the API where like game producers would be like, you can go on Grand Theft Auto and jerk off or something? Like, did you create the VIP version of Showgirls? And if not, when are you going to do that?
They have a pin the tassel on the Elizabeth Berkley.
Do they really?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty fun. I got it from a record store down the street.
But you can do this. I mean, I think some people do that, don't they? Where like comics will go, I think maybe forgot where they did it. I thought it was maybe Freddie's Bar in Brooklyn. But I mean, have you kind of, pulled some comics together for a live event that will kind of, riff over movies, like I don't know, what was that? Mystery Science Theater 3000 or whatever.
Yeah,
fun
right.
of the movies or whatever. Like, have you ever done any of that? And is that like you and Megan, when you and Megan are in the same, let me think, Miss Sweet. Hold on, let me look. Yeah, Megan Sweet, Megan E. Sweet. Like, if you guys are ever in the same area of the country.
Yeah, that's the only it worked for COVID. It's gonna be a little difficult if we're gonna try to do live shows because she is all the way in Jersey. We don't get to watch these movies together.
Yeah.
But it is exciting. Hopefully she's trying to maybe come down sometime over the summer, and then hopefully we'll do some sort of live shows, because after we just watched the Village People musical, it really inspired me. I really do need to do like a live show of some sort. I really need to hopefully get some people, getting some fans together of the podcast, and hopefully just do it live. That's my primary goal. I don't know if I have the following just yet, especially in LA, and plus, things are kind of sort of not happening right now with Omicron. It's been a little difficult, but
see, you're here at the Kevin _Heisinger. You're at the Laugh Factory, and so that's when you're on stage not talking about movies. What do you talk about on stage when you're not able to talk about movies?
With the short time they give me, just some little one-liners that I've been working on for the past 7 years.
Little one-liners I've been working on for the past 7 years, dude. I love even your pin tweet where the Mission Impossible tweet.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. I'm gonna retweet that in about a second.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's hard on Twitter. I just recently joined maybe a year ago, and it's hard. A lot of people, if you have your Twitter following, you get a lot of retweets, a lot of likes. That's cool, but I feel like I'm a little late to the game. I think I'm maybe a little 10 years too late. But
but some it's the comedy community. Like you'll notice, like, first of all, I'll be retweeting you like crazy because that's my job in life. Like, that's why my Twitter feed rules, because all my former guests are being, all their funny shit's being retweeted on my feed all day long. Like 30,000 retweets of only a couple hundred guests. They love that shit because when you look at their things, like somebody has 50 likes and no retweets. Somebody has 100 likes and no retweets. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, and then you see, like, I'm able to see, like, all the 15 former guests all liked it. And you're like, none of you thought to retweet this thing? And I think, I've never talked to any of them about it. And, some of them are more generous than others, but it's almost like an admission to your own followers that, I'm retweeting it because this is funnier than anything I have. And I almost think there's some guilt, like some shame associated with retweeting somebody else, and I have no such shame. But do you think, have you seen any of that in the comedy Twitter?
No, yeah, I've definitely, a lot of tweets pop up. I follow a lot of comedians, and they don't really care. They retweet a lot of stuff. I definitely am one to retweet something that I think is funny, and that way it already has all the likes. So it looks like, I'm somewhat garnering, a following, even though I'm not. But there's no shame in it. It's really, especially when some tweets go viral, but then they don't really have a lot of followers. So it's just weird. I really, with everything, even with Instagram and Twitter, I never know what the algorithm is or what's going to blow up, what's going to go viral and what's not. I really there's no way to predict it.
But when you look at even your following on Instagram is pretty awesome. Like, you have a great ratio. Right. So everybody follow me. It's Kevin _Heisinger on Twitter. I'm going to be retweeting all this funny stuff. And then Kevin Heisinger on Instagram. But he also has Midnight Movie Night on Instagram, where him and Megan Sweet, who's in Jersey, so hopefully I can get her on, just enjoy just celebrate what's spectacularly bad about these
Right.
movies. So Kevin Heisinger, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.